Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining. My name is Tara Whitford, and I'm here today with Marilyn Young. She is my best buddy. Mary is a very strong empath as well, so a lot of times we have kind of helped each other to get through some stuff. So I
Yeah.
thought it might be a really good idea if today we have Marilyn on, and we're going to talk about obligation, because in one of my last videos you heard me say that it's never a good idea to do anything out of obligation, and both Marilyn and I have some really good examples of why not and what might happen. I'm going to put this over to Marilyn, and I'm going to say welcome, Marilyn, and thank you. Thanks so much for coming on and deciding that you would share your wisdoms with us today. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for asking me to participate. I'm more than happy to, so it's all
Oh,
good.
wonderful. Okay, so the other day we were talking about obligation, and I'm gonna share my story, and then I'm wondering if you could share yours too. Now, the thing about obligation is that we're not necessarily in integrity. Okay, and we think we are, because if we say something, then we feel like we're obligated to do it, and then and then we need to do it because we said we were going to do it. And my example of this, it was a number of years ago. My brother was still alive. He was living with me. He was going through cancer. There was a whole bunch of stuff. Now, the relationship between my brother and I was always strained, but whenever he needed something, he would come to me. And so it was a very obligatory kind of connection between he and I, and his lifestyle was much different than mine. So we kind of weren't best friends, but he always knew where to come when he needed something. So I remember my brother Harley. He ended up getting spindle cell sarcoma, which is a bone cancer, and he was going through chemo, and he he asked me. He said, I know he was scared. I knew at the time he was scared, and he said, can you come and sit with me during chemo? So I said yes. I said yes, and I said yes out of obligation. I knew he was scared. As an empath, I could feel him. I wanted to help him. He wasn't mine to help, by the way, but I wanted to help him. So I said yes to him. And as I was driving that day closer to the hospital and closer, I started to get this feeling in my stomach. And it was like, oh my goodness, I think I've got the flu. Oh, this is not going to be pretty in a minute. And the closer that I got, the worse it got. So I phoned him and I said, look, I think I've got the flu. I don't think that I can come today. I'm really sorry. And he said, well, it's no big deal. Like, there's lots of people around and I'm okay. And so I said, okay. So I turned around, and as I was going away from the hospital, lo and behold, didn't my sensations release? And didn't I feel way better? Now, that could have been because empathically I was feeling some of the stuff from the chemo, but it could have also been because I was doing this out of obligation. Because what happens is when we feel stuff empathically, we're usually still able to go and do the job that we're here to do. It's not usually something that so overtakes us that we can't continue. And honestly, I don't believe that I could have continued. So I think that's the difference. And I think that that was one of the things that happened through my experience of trying to see my brother out of obligation more than love, or more than, and it's not that I didn't love my brother, but it was just in that moment, it was more that I was doing this out of obligation. So I was telling this to you, Meredith, the other day, and
Yeah,
you shared a story with me. Would you share that with everyone today?
sure. I think the one we were talking about was very similar, but current. I have my 89-year-old mom had a fall, broke her hip and shoulder, and now she's amazingly strong. She's recovering and she's in a rehab facility to, get things working. And daily, I can feel empathically her loneliness. Like she's surrounded by people, the workers there and a roommate, but she still feels lonely because she'd like her kids to visit her. So I feel, I try to get there as much as I can. And there are some days where I'm like, yeah, I need to go. I want to go. I'm looking forward to going. And there are other days where I feel like I have to go because I can feel her being lonely and I know no one else in my family is planning to go. So I want to help her, but I have this other pull with the 8,000 other things I feel like I need to do that day. And
Mhm.
one of those days was last Friday. And I was like, no, I need to go. And I don't like going to see her when I feel obligated because it's not a fun meeting for either of us. I think
Right.
she can feel how I'm feeling as well. So it's usually a short meeting, but in my head, in my mind, I walk away going, oh, well, check, I've met my obligation. But as I was driving towards the facility, my stomach started to churn. And I also was getting almost like a really mild panic attack, just shaky inside and it's like, this is you're doing this and look what it's doing to your body.
Yeah.
But my mind overrode it and went, no, you're going to check the box, you're going to go.
Yeah.
So we had a short visit and I wasn't too bad while I was there because I was preoccupied with trying to have a positive interaction with her. And then left and came home and it was just like all of a sudden I could have a deep breath and everything was gone. But
Uh-huh.
it is sort of a body game, mind game because you know what's happening, but yet you're not responding to that. So that's one of my lessons is to learn to respond to that better.
And to listen, right? Like that, the
Yeah.
body is our best friend because like, we are not, I don't believe that we are meant to actually serve each other through obligation. So when that's happening, the body is giving us a really good physical reason to say
Yeah.
no, right? Like, I'm not well. I might make you unwell, or I just can't do it. I'm not strong enough. I love that where it was like the shaky and the overwhelm, and that's what I want to talk about. That was a little bit of overwhelm that was coming in because you were working on doing that thing that you didn't really want to do. The thing that it's not that we don't want to go see our parents or our family. It's that there are particular days when we
Hmm.
are not meant to go and see our family, regardless of what they are going through. It's just maybe somebody else is meant to serve them, or something else is meant to happen so that they learn something, but we are not meant to be there. And when we're not meant to be there, we will be very busy in our worlds, or we will have these kind of sensations of illness or overwhelm, anxiety, shaky. Heaven's sakes, it gets kind of cool and crazy. Were you able to kind of tune into your body that day, Mare, and kind of say, "Wow, thanks, body"? Were you able to do that?
Oh, I wasn't that thankful, although I should be. But it was like, okay, mental notes, pay attention to this next time.
Yeah,
Because the other thing was when I go out of obligation, and I know this, so I'm still not at the back end of that lesson. It's not a pleasant visit for her either.
yeah,
So, I'm thinking I'm going to help her with her loneliness and make her feel better. But it's a different type of interaction than when I go because yeah, I'm looking forward to going. So you're right. Those days, and it's just certain days. Those days you're not meant to go, not meant to serve. And I'm also, maybe taking up space that someone else is the person that should be there with her at that time. That
that's right. Yeah,
would have
that's
a better interaction with her. Yeah.
and that's a tough thing. Like, that's such a good point, and it's a tough thing for us empaths because we are all healers. Every empath is a healer, and we're all specific healers. Like, we do our own specific
Yeah.
type of healing. And so when the people that are connected to us, whether that's family or our friends, are the ones that we love and the ones that we want to see do well, when they are not well, you know,
Hmm.
it's almost like we have this responsibility. We kind of take them in like they are ours. Like, we must help them because we're up. We're the ones. And I remember when I finally figured out that my brother wasn't mine to serve. And I talked to my sister about that. And I said, look at, like, I get it. He needs help and he needs help. Like, I don't know what my problem is. And what she said at that time was, I got the summer. I can come and live with him and help him. And, you know, like, we haven't bonded for a long time. I was just waiting for you, Tira, to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it's that's a big thing to remember. So I love that, Maren. You know, sometimes they're not ours because somebody else is waiting. Someone else is waiting. So it
That
is,
could serve them better. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or that they need to learn something more together with, you know, like
Yeah.
maybe we've learned what we need to with those family members, and now somebody else has to get together with them to learn what they need to learn. So lots, it's big, it's deep, it's heavy. I love it. Thank you. Thanks for sharing your story with us, Mare. And
Yeah.
I look forward to the next time that we can connect and have just little conversations about just life as an empath.
It's a lot of fun and a lot of learning. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Mare.
Have a good day.
You
Bye
too.
bye.